Hi, everyone. Welcome to our third July installment of the Coaching Seat TV with Toyinda LaShea, where we're all about sitting in that seat of authority so that kingdom citizens can be infused with the power to dominate confidence, leave a legacy, and unleash potential. This is accomplished through extracting interferences, distractions, and limiting beliefs. I am Toyinda LaShea, prophetess, a best-selling author, business consultant, master coach, public speaker mentor, and a threat to hell's kingdom. I am back in the studio with Lester Young Jr. He's the author of The Five Stages of Incarceration. He's also the director of Path to Redemption, and he is doing some phenomenal work in society as a whole. So we're gonna get right into it, Lester. Welcome back. I'm
Appreciate you.
so
Thanks.
excited
Thanks.
to have you here again. In our last installment, we started to talk a little bit about vision.
Yeah.
Can you share with me, like, how did you carry out your vision, being formerly incarcerated, and then once you came into the community, to just really unleash that vision? Just kind of
Well,
start me from the beginning.
it started in prison. It started by me watching an Oprah show one time, and she had this thing on like her show before she went to cable. It was just and she was talking about gratitude in the journaling, like write down what you're most grateful for every day. Here's them serving life in prison, and I was like, I don't have nothing to be grateful for, so I'm going to challenge you, Miss Winfrey. I'm going to challenge your teachings. So I went to the prison canteen. I got like a stack of journals, and I started writing down 5 things in the morning that I'm grateful, 5 things at night that I'm grateful for. And over a course of time, through reading other books and prayer, I started to experience the shift.
Wow.
The shift then was about me seeing good in everything that I was experiencing, not seeing my adversity as just bad place, not seeing my life sentence as a bad place, seeing me as an individual who has given a given opportunity to atone and make amends for the mistakes that I made. You know, so that's where it saved me from being this bitter person, this callous-hearted person who committed a violent crime. Now it gave me an understanding that I have to develop some sense of empathy and take ownership for the actions. And I began writing, and I started visualizing my life that I felt like God wanted me to do. And that started by being a teacher, a mentor, and a coach inside of prison, and wrote that all the way out to the day I walked out of prison. To this day, I'm walking in these visions that I had 20-something years in prison.
Wow, that's huge. And we don't even have enough time to talk about your pressure washing business. Like,
Yeah.
you are quite the businessman. You are quite the person, I think the go-to person. I feel like if I ever hear of anybody who is formerly incarcerated and they don't know where to go, what to do, I'm going to always refer you, because I know that your passion for the work that you're doing will assist them to become the best version of themselves.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited that you are a champion influence coach, and you are also a part of it's
Just Leadership USA.
Just Leadership USA. Talk a little bit about your experience with that organization.
Well, with Just Leadership, going back again to the vision, I always wanted to be a community organizer. I wanted to use my story to empower others, but also not only those who are formerly incarcerated, those still inside of the prison system, but those who write policies and laws that impact the lives of those who are incarcerated. So I came across, it's crazy, but this is how God work. I came across an organization on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I met them. I reached out to them. I told them that I would like to get involved. And within a short period of time, they was like, definitely, we see that you're passionate about it, because I was already doing the work prior to meeting them. This is what I always tell individuals. If you have a passion about doing something, don't wait until someone tells you that this is how you do it, but you do the best that you can now, and God will bring forth the people and places and all of the tools that you need to grow. So Just Leadership just gave me another platform, but I was already in the trenches doing what I was passionate about, and that's advocating for those who had felony convictions, coming home from prison, and struggling with employment.
Wow. Wow. Now, is that the theme of Ban the Box?
Ban the Box is helping those with felony convictions get employed.
Yes.
You know, and again, I was this young man who just got out of prison in a whole nother city, here in South Carolina. No one knew who I was other than a few guys that I was in prison with,
Right.
but I had a passion. I walked out of prison already prepared for my
Come
journey.
on. Preparation
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yes, it was already there through the 5 stages we mentioned. I was able to do all of the internal works that I needed to prepare myself for the journey. So when I walked home, walked out of prison, I was already in tune with what God had called me to do.
Yeah.
That's to use my story to inspire and empower others as far as to go forward. For those who are incarcerated inside, but also the lawmakers, give them a human side of what it looks when you talk. When you write a law, you're only looking at you describe them as these are the worst people there are.
Wow.
But to show that, hey, I have a voice. I committed this crime, but I am a man. I'm a person. I'm a husband. And this is who I am now. How could I help you write better laws to serve the human
that's
side of the
good.
people
That-
versus just writing it?
Lester, that is huge. That is huge. It's so much. It's so many things that we can talk about. But I want to get into the 5 stages of incarceration. Yeah, it is. I mean, you have been doing some phenomenal work around it. I did not read the entire book. I scanned it,
That's
I
fine.
skimmed it, and I pulled out some things that I thought would be valuable for our conversation. I want to understand the first, second, and third stages. Go
The
there.
first, it's two things I want to highlight
Yeah,
first,
please.
and before we get into the first.
Please do.
In prison, no one never told me in prison there's 2 levels of incarceration.
Wow.
No one ever told me this. And the 2 levels are recriminalization, decriminalization.
Okay.
The recriminalization is where individuals come to prison and they recriminalize themselves by their peers that they associate. They learn how to commit new crimes, how to be better criminals inside of prison. And then the next level was decriminalization, where individuals really take that path of personal development.
Wow.
It was a path that was traveled by very few. And I was one of those very few individuals who made a conscious intentions to travel a path of personal development in prison. So the first 3 stages is
So hang on, Lester. So this path, like what just hit me was like path to redemption.
Yeah, that's where it came from. That's the name of my organization. It came from me making the intentions to decriminalize my thoughts, understand the behaviors that led to it, to put me on a path to redemption versus a path back to incarceration. So the first 3
Tears.
stages were centered around that first level, self-denial. Most individuals inside of prison are in denial about the behavior choices that led to their incarceration. And some of the core issues, like I said, mine was grief. Then I come across talking and building trust with other men inside of prison. I found that some of their core issues to bad behavior choice was abuse, sexual abuse, molestation, just verbal addiction. So it was so much stuff in that core that they did not address. So I call that the first stage of denial. The second was anger. Anger is rooted not only in just seeing situation, but it was rooted in the core of the issues or the past experiences that individual encounters. So in that, I found that there's 4 levels of anger. I just speak about 2, just the outward anger, the inward anger. You find individuals, they're extremely angry. And you'll be like, why are you so angry? And they'll be like, oh, I'm angry because I hate prison.
Yeah.
And I was that, but it was not that you hated prison. It was that you did not resolve the pain and the brokenness and the trauma that led to your incarceration. So it was not just prison. It was the issues that you experienced. For me, it was 16, grief, losing my mother. And then we go to the third stage, wasn't it that victimization?
Wow.
Where you in prison, here's I have committed a violent crime, murder. I took a person's life over drugs. I'm in prison my first couple of years saying, oh, I am the victim. Not wanting to take ownership, no remorse, no empathy. And that's part of that first level. In that recriminalization stage, this is where you don't want to take ownership for your action. You don't want to dig down deep and understand your anger. You want to dig down deep to understand what led you to prison and how could you fix that so you can transition out of prison and be
That's good.
better.
That's
So those
good.
are the 3 stages that going back again to what we talked about earlier, when we talk about ministry, ministry don't want to do this work. And this is when I come into play and say, hey, let me show
That's
your
good.
your organization how to help men and women drill down into these issues. It's like pulling the Band-Aid back, fixing the issue, then begin to help rebuild these men through teaching, spiritual teachings.
Yes.
But some, they say, well, let us not focus on building the men. Let's just give them teachings and move forward to the next mission. But that's not the case.
Yeah, and because it doesn't allow for an individual to really become the best version of themselves. In the coaching program, we know that when individuals are aware of their behaviors, their thoughts, as well as their character, that they can take responsibility for the choices that they're going to make after. And the 5 stages of incarceration begins to pull those things out.
Allow you to show up. It allows a person to show up.
Yeah.
I'm able to show up now in the space that I am today. When I travel, is because I did the work. I did the internal work. I healed.
Yeah.
I was able to heal from a lot of broken things that I experienced. So as there's a saying, hurt people. I hurt people many years, but also another part of that, heal people.
Yes.
So now I consider myself a healer because I went through those 5 stages of incarceration.
That's good. So you talked about the first 3. I do want to quickly talk about, in your book, and I wrote it down, it says, this was at the beginning, by applying these behaviors into my daily regime, I found I was able to use my time to educate myself. And so my question here is, what are the behaviors that you applied in order to create that space to educate yourself?
It was just develop. I realized that a lot of behaviors that I did was out of result of no discipline. I had to create disciplines, and I had to create better habits. My habits was not reading a book, writing. So I had to change that. I had to become a better writer. I had to fall in love with reading books, not books that glamorize the criminal behavior, but books that would make me look deep into myself. And one of the exercises in the book, I mentioned the man in the mirror.
Yes.
Like how powerful it was for me. After 3 years, I avoided a mirror.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to look at the broken 16-year-old boy,
My goodness.
So when I finally looked in this mirror and I saw this man or this person standing in the mirror, I did not like him. I saw the 16-year-old wounded boy who was still struggling with the death of his mother, and now I'm dealing with the fact that someone else died, all of this guilt and shame. How do I break away from that? So it was about falling in love with the things that was going to make me better, and that's the reading, opening myself, being willing to be vulnerable so that the chaplains could mentor me and help me grow.
Wow. And so mentoring from the chaplains, you're now mentoring others who are formerly incarcerated, and you do still work inside of the prisons as well. You are, I mean, this is phenomenal. And I'm so excited that we're able to discuss this, because then again, ministries do prison ministry. They, when individuals are re-enter into the community, most of the times they do integrate into church ministries. And so we have to understand how to help them become the best version of themselves, both naturally and also spiritually. Absolutely. Well, listen, Lester, I'm excited that you're going to be joining next week. So we're going to come in and finish this conversation. We will see you next week. Hello, everybody. I want to invite you to purchase my book, The Handbook to Unleash Your Potential in 6 Practical Steps. If you are struggling with stagnation, suppression, and being stale in business, in leadership, in ministry, this book is for you. I give you 6 practical steps to achieve in life. Welcome to the Coaching Seat TV with Toyinda LaShea, where we're all about sitting in our seat of authority so that the kingdom community can be infused with the power to dominate confidence, unleash potential, and leave a legacy. This is accomplished through extracting limiting beliefs, distractions, and interferences. I am so excited for the opportunity to be on Dominion TV with the powerful Dr. Dutton and Pastor Lynette Dutton. Make sure you download the app for Dominion TV, as well as catch this broadcast every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. I want you to share it with your community, your clients, and your customers.